is the balance. Now, I think that the depressing conversations are the people who say, I was born in this refugee camp and I'm going to die in this refugee camp and there's nothing that can be done. I mean, you do see that. But equally, you then get the person next to them and say, hang on, even if that's true, we're going to make it better here.
Right.
And that's important. But I don't want to hide from people the fact that we've got this appalling, we're a growth industry. Most industries like to be growth industries, and we don't want to be a growth industry. And we've got this appalling world record that's been broken in the last year, more refugees and displaced people than ever before. And I think that in a more connected world, we've got to think, what are our responsibilities to each other in that context? You know, I hear a lot of people say, charity begins at home, but in a more connected world, home, I mean, there's one planet and there's one humanity. And I think that we've got to find a way of speaking to that doesn't ask people to abandon metrics of impact and value for money and good governance, but also somehow speaks to the heart as well as to the head. And I think that Americans have always shown themselves to have big hearts, and it's important that we continue to show that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. We have done a comprehensive tour of the world, and we just have a few minutes left, right. But I do have a couple
short
more
answers then. I will be more
Twitter questions.
Okay.
No, you've been
140
wonderful.
Characters.
140 characters. But give us some sense of the other regions we haven't discussed, like, for example, Latin America. You know, thousands of children fleeing for the U.S.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you see there?
This explosion in Latin America, it's not an area where we've historically had a strong presence. But obviously, most of the kids who are coming have come from three countries. They're coming from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. They're coming in 60, 70, 80,000 now. Many of them being sent to join parents. We're doing an assessment at the moment to try and get a better take on what's driving this. Obviously, there's a big criminal element to it. There's an organized gang element that is frightening people. And we've got to do some pretty serious assessment as to what does it mean to get to the roots of the problem, and what does it mean also to provide some kind of hope for these extraordinarily traumatized kids who are as young as 3 or 4 years old in some cases. And that's something that we're having to attend to really in a pretty rapid fire way. We also haven't talked about Burma, Myanmar, Thailand in East Asia. Long-term program, great hope for economic renewal, great hope for political liberalization in Burma, Myanmar.
Who are you working with in Burma?
We're working on the ground in the states alongside the strip that goes down the Thai border. So we work with local people. We also do a bit of work in Rakhine State.